Like how I overcame that is just going, okay, well, let's just say, for example, the phrase is, I think I'm right. Okay. But how well has that been working out for me? Not as well as I'd like it to? Okay, then I'm going to do what I don't feel comfortable with, and I'm just going to say, okay, show me the way. So what energizes that is you have the intention for getting results stronger than you have the intention to show someone that you're right and they're wrong. You just have to decide. It comes down initially to making an intention, which is a decision. And you're saying, for whatever reason I can't decide. The reason that you can't decide is because you don't have enough motivation to make the decision to just get out of your own way in this specific example. That's why I often use the example of, at gunpoint, what decision would you make? You'd make the one that you were threatened to make. Because if you didn't, it would mean the loss of life. So with this analogy, it becomes clear that, it's not that I just can't do it for whatever reason. It's that if I'm being honest, it's that I'm really just holding on to the juice, that payoff of me thinking I'm right. But at the end of the day, do I want to be right or do I want a business? Like, I'm not going to be the one here to hold the gun to your head. You have to do it yourself. That's the only way it's possible. So you then have to get, again, using inner honesty, becoming honest with yourself. How strongly do I want this? Do I really want this if I'm deciding to live unconsciously? You're living unconsciously. Everyone is, right? For the most part. If they're the average person, they're living unconsciously. Everyone has their own ego positionalities that are active for them. For you, you're aware that this is one of your main ego positionalities. And what does this come from? It comes from, very likely, learning when you were young that you weren't right. Or, not that you weren't right, but that was the perception at the time. So maybe you experienced some kind of verbal abuse from authority figures, teachers, parents, whatever it was, and that you're wrong, you're wrong. So that's where the coping mechanism with I'm wrong turns into I'm right. And so you just have to understand that this ego positionality, it's a position that your ego takes out of safety to keep, it's a protective mechanism. It thinks it's a protective mechanism to keep you safe from the pain of feeling wrong. And so you don't want to feel wrong. So you're going to be right at every chance that you perceive you can exercise that. And so you just have to then go, okay, this isn't real. This is from my past, which isn't real. I want the results in my business more than I want to continuously feel safe by being right. And so with this understanding that you are telling yourself, you are giving yourself hypnotic suggestions almost. This is like you're re-educating your unconscious mind by acknowledging a reality that your unconscious mind currently doesn't believe, but you are consciously telling yourself and it, this is the way I want to think and feel. This is the way I want to see my reality. I want to let go of this need to feel right, because ultimately it's pain. And I want to move forward in my business. And so I'm just going to decide, even though it's been hard in the past is now gone, and I don't want to recreate my past, or I don't want to recreate my now from my past. So I'm going to decide that no matter how challenging it's been, I'm just going to do something different. I don't care if every bone in my body is telling me the opposite, because again, that's not intuition. That's different. It's like you are at first kind of going against this protective mechanism in your unconscious mind, and you're just going to do something different. Why? Because you know it's going to benefit you. And so you'll bite your tongue, you'll do the thing you're asked of until you get the result. You have to make the decision, man. And then you just have to recommit to that decision every now moment that you need to. Because it's all now. But if you remember the past, and you hold on to that vision of the past, then your now will consist of you telling me why it's so hard for you to do that. And if I ask you, why is it so hard? You'll tell me only a record of the past. Why? Because I've never been able to. It's always hard when I do that. This and that, this and that, this. It's all the past. None of it is now, none of it is future. But it becomes your future nows because you're continuously looking in the past now. So now you have to decide to do what's uncomfortable. It's outside of your comfort zone. To do what you haven't done before, and you're just going to do it. And what's going to energize that I'm just going to do it? The intention for what you are doing this for. Do you want to be right? You may even be wrong too. That's the irony, right? You may even be wrong. Because if it's not working for you, are you right? This is how messed up the ego is, man. It's insane. It doesn't have your best interests at heart. It's not even aware of the present moment. And it keeps you stuck in the past. And so you then have to outsmart the ego by understanding that this is not who you are. It's just a record of the past which doesn't exist. And so to create a new now, I'm going to do something new and different now. And then I'm going to commit to that now. When I wake up, it's going to be now. When I go to sleep, it's going to be now. This is my new reality that I am energizing and reinforcing with my intention now. Then your future will be different. Why? Because it will be composed of nows. People are either living in the regret of the past or the anticipation of the future. It takes work. This is work. This is like a mindset work. You can call it spiritual work. You are knowing yourself. To know thyself, right? So you're knowing yourself. You're understanding. Instead of it being some mystery as to why can they get results but I just can't? Okay, well, it's because I'm not coachable. Why am I not coachable? Because of what we discussed. Okay, what we discussed is due to a perception of the past that you're holding on to unconsciously. Now, the way to undo this is to stop being that way. The only way you can stop being that way is by living consciously.